You ever feel like you need to stretch? I do. Woo! Need to stretch. Here we go, folks. I've been told I look like Ringo Starr. I don't know. I don't see it. But no matter what, this is Bill Bostic. Bill Bostic, your host for the Gazette Morning Update for Tuesday, April 27th, 2018. This fine, hyper-local broadcast, newscast is brought to you by Consolidated Insurance Services. Look for the Erie Insurance sign on Jonestown Road, to be specific, 6109 Jonestown Road. David Jones heads up that agency. Auto, home, life, and business. Check them out. Also, this broadcast is brought to you by 105th Legislative District Democratic candidate Eric Epstein and 105th Legislative District Republican candidate Adam Klein. Epstein and Klein, thank you so much. All right, today, folks, is Home Sweet Home Tuesday. We'll get into what that's all about here in just a second. Home Sweet Home Tuesday. And that's based on an experience I had last night. And we'll get into that in just a moment. But first, courtesy of the Fat Man Clothing Company out of Colonial Park, operated by Anthony Cristillo. We're going to take a quick look at the weather. The Fat Man Clothing Company. Check them out on Facebook. Right now it's 31 degrees in the Eubana Gardens section of Linglestown, the village, the historic village of Linglestown, founded in 1765. 31 degrees. Looking at 70% chance of precipitation, says weatherunderground.com. This afternoon, a high of 41. Tonight, 80% chance of showers, a low of only 37. Starting to moderate a little bit. And tomorrow, still some rain hanging around, a 40% chance of rain, a high of 52. So it looks like we're heading into a damp section of the week. Thank you, Anthony Cristillo, the Fat Man Clothing Company, for bringing us that weather report. And while we're at it, a couple quick notes. We have a number of sponsors that show up on the website, on occasionally on different posts, on broadcasts, and one of those sponsors is Colonial Custom Building and Design. You'll find them on our local news section, our news and opinion section on the website at LinglestownGazette.com. That company is operated by Ted Zinn, a friend of mine. I'd like to thank him for his support, and they do home improvement projects. They work on businesses. I know they've worked a lot at Springgate Vineyard, Central Dauphin Pizza. They worked on a friend's house, putting on steps up to a sunroom and like a patio type room. They enclosed in a little patio for them. So again, that's Colonial Custom Building and Design, based in Colonial Park. Find their link to their Facebook page on Linglestown Gazette in the local news section. Thank you, Ted. And one other quick announcement before we get into the meat. The meat that we're just going to dig right in there is October 6th. Please circle that date. October 6th. That's a Saturday. We'll soon be coming out with big details on the Linglestown Gazette one-day wine tour up in the Finger Lakes. We're going to be going to Keuka Lake. That's the plan. Keuka Lake. It's not one of the main Finger Lakes, but it is a very, very nice one. Great views. It's a Y-sectioned, shaped like a Y. Many wineries. Plus, the most quaint, cool town you ever want to go to, Hammond Sport. It's Hammond Sport, Hammond Sport, New York. I mean, I was just there within the last couple weeks. Beautiful. And we're going to be going up October, so we may hit the fall foliage season up there. And we're planning on going to 3 wineries. So details haven't been fully finalized, but we have the date, we have a bus reserved, and we're moving forward. We just need people to fill the bus. So look for that information. So there we go. And it's time to strike up and let out that crazy animal that I always have penned up here. If I can find it. Always a challenge to find it. Oh, there he is. The watchdog. My angry watchdog has been released. Got a couple things to share with you today. And that is, last night there was a Central Dauphin school district. They had the school board meeting last night. I was tied up with some public service activities, so I did not view it. But so if anyone has any information about the school board meeting, put it in the comments. Hopefully I'll have a chance to review that meeting. Based on the agenda, nothing huge was happening. There may have been an update on a $25 million bond that the school district was floating a few days ago. They were selling bonds to raise money for the West Hanover Township Elementary School that could be under construction this summer, as well as $3 million towards security updates. And I'll just throw in something quick here. Yesterday, if you watched the show or the newscast, talked about the idea of possibly having a forum here. A lot of the stuff I do and coordinate is at Springgate in the Village, across from St. Thomas Roasters Coffee House, and bringing in people to deal with school security issues. And what are we going to do to address this concern around our nation with school violence, gun violence, that kind of thing? Maybe get a better understanding of what our school district is doing. Just sort of put that issue out for discussion, bring people in and have a little bit of a roundtable discussion there. So if you're interested in that, if that's something that concerns you, if that's something that concerns your student, put it in the comments. Let's get interactive here. This is not just me out to you, it's you to me as well. And use the comments. I see them, I pick up on some of them. Sometimes it's hard to see, but we can be interactive here. So that's an idea I'm floating, to do a forum on that issue today. Now this is gonna blow you away. At 4:30, at Lower Paxton Township Shade Tree Commission will be meeting. The Shade Tree Commission, I've seen them in action. Years ago they came into one of an adjoining neighborhood to mine here in Linglestown and put some shade trees in the right of way, right off the street. In that little strip of grass, you have the street, you have a curb, you have a little strip of grass, you have a sidewalk, and then you have a yard. Well, in that little strip of grass, they were planting trees, and they still exist over in an adjoining neighborhood to me. That's just one of the things they do. Whenever Linglestown was redeveloped, the roadway was improved, they put in the roundabouts, the sidewalks. The Shade Tree Commission was consulted as far as what kind of trees to put in that little strip of grass, okay? And I think they got involved in making sure the trees got off to a good start after they were planted. That's a Shade Tree Commission. 4:30, volunteers who have signed up to be part of that will be meeting, I think, at the Township Municipal Center on Prince Street. And then this evening at 6 o'clock, and I plan to be at this one, at 6 o'clock, the Lower Paxton Township Planning Commission will be holding what I believe will be their final workshop session on the upcoming revision to our comprehensive plan. Now, the comprehensive plan, you may say, what in the heck is that? Very simple. It's a roadmap. It's not law, but it's a roadmap, a plan, a game plan for moving forward, primarily with land use. How our open spaces and maybe how some areas will be redeveloped. For example, there's some concern that Colonial Park Mall may need to be redeveloped because its current format will not be able to continue given the climate in our business community, not only here, but around the nation with the internet, Amazon.com, all that kind of stuff. Also the Kmart Plaza, redevelopment potentially. Even the village of Linglestown, stuff going on there, which is what I'm advocating for. That's at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. And just to tell you, here's what I'm involved in, a couple different areas. One is, I believe that Linglestown, the village, could be an enclave for millennials or younger adults looking for low-cost housing, looking for a walking community, looking for a place where there's different places to go and shop and hang out. And we're looking to work with the township to adjust some of the zoning to allow some low-cost. We're talking about nice housing, but lower cost, smaller spaces to be able to be built in Linglestown, to help this, also to help spur some new businesses to come in there. If we're going to be a regional or a local destination, we need to have a few more businesses in there. We just had one open up, by the way, the Village Mercantile. The Village Mercantile, and also right across from the Village Mercantile, which is sort of like a They sell some antiques and different things where you would buy them and display them in your home and make your home look comfy and cozy and all that kind of thing. Across the street, an auto detailing place is going in, which is what used to be Murphy's Auto Repair Shop. So there are things happening in Linglestown. We're looking to keep that moving. I'm even interested in identifying some homes in the main strip of Linglestown and getting some homes redeveloped that have been long time vacant. I mean, maybe those are the kind of things I'm into. So for whatever that's worth. So that's that. Moving into our next section, let's move out of Watchdog and into something else here. And let's get it going. That's our bumper music for sports. Sports, local sports. And I do have a report from the Central Dauphin boys lacrosse team. They were winners. Winners. Yesterday, 9-7. They defeated I believe it was Elizabethtown. Yes, the Elizabethtown Bears. The Rams defeated the Bears yesterday in boys lacrosse, 9-7. Look for more information on Linglestown Gazette website and Facebook page and Twitter page. All those will have a report that came in from the lacrosse team later this morning. They play today. They take on district rival Central Dauphin East this afternoon at 4 o'clock at Central Dauphin High School out in West Hanover Township. So that's a big matchup today in boys lacrosse. Central Dauphin Rams, Central Dauphin East Panthers, I believe it is. Central Dauphin High School, 4 o'clock. I don't believe there's any admission. You can go out and watch boys lacrosse for free. I also wanted to point out that on Linglestown Gazette website and Facebook page, there's a interesting article put together by my buddy, my pal, and sports director Joe Gilloway about the how we can work with private schools competing against public schools. Certainly in basketball, many times the private schools have a hands up on the public schools because they can pretty much pick and choose at times. Players from the area, recruit them. It's a little bit easier to recruit when you're a private school than it is with a public school, because public schools, if they're going to recruit, I mean, the ideal way is to get the family to move into your district, to somehow convince them to move from here to here so you can play a sport. Or the student would have to pay tuition. So it's not as easy to recruit if you're a public school. Much easier as a private school. He takes on that issue. Look for that on our websites and social media sites. Thanks, Joe, for that. And that brings us to our main topic for the day. I don't think hopefully it'll be one you'll stick around for. It's only going to be 2 minutes. Last night, I was at a homeless shelter down in the city of Harrisburg. And what brought that why I ended up there and helping out for an evening was back in December, we had a cold snap. Actually, I have a place up in a state park, and we hadn't drained the water system, and the cold snap hit. Our pipes were damaged and all that kind of stuff. Well, one of our readers and viewers, Stephanie Josephine Fritsch, contacted me and said, pretty much, what am I going to do about homelessness? Because that anytime it gets cold, that issue comes up. And I said, hey, look, Steph, I'm only a journalist. I mean, in the city of Harrisburg, where you're concerned, that's not really my beat. I said, the question is, do we have any homelessness in Lower Paxton Township? That's the question. And what we did, I'm game for pretty much anything. What we did is we took an evening in December. Stephanie and I went out for an evening and toured Lower Paxton, taking a look, trying to see if we can find any homelessness. I contacted the police. They pretty much said it's not a problem. The only thing they find in Lower Paxton is that sometimes transients will set up shop in a parking lot and attract some attention. But they couldn't even point me to anywhere where, that they know that homelessness or homeless people are hanging out in Lower Paxton. So we found nothing. Steph thought there were some areas that could be signs of homelessness. We found one glove in a weird place. I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch. We found spots that would be good to sleep if you're a homeless person in Lower Paxton. I won't give that away because we may try that down the road to see if we could be homeless for a day or two or three as an experiment. So we ended up going down to Harrisburg, and even the homeless people weren't even anywhere around that night. They had all gone to shelters or someplace because it was too darn cold. I spent some time at the Pine Street Presbyterian Church men's shelter. And it's going to actually be closing on April 1st. But during the winter, they opened this up. It's on the third floor of a building that adjoins the church building on 3rd Street in Harrisburg. We had 36 men come in last night. And the only reason I mention that is, we live in Lower Paxton Township, but, Harrisburg is just a stone's throw away. And these artificial governmental lines, Lower Paxton, Pembroke, Harrisburg, Susquehanna Township, the truth is we're in a big community all together. And I'm just going to be a proponent of us being somewhat concerned about issues in Harrisburg. And the reason we don't have homeless people roaming around Lower Paxton is why? Because there's services in the city. So my plea, especially like on a week like this is Holy Week. If you follow any kind of Christian religion, this is Holy Week, one of the high weeks of the year when we try to think about things other than our own stuff. My encouragement would be to join me for the next number of months and taking a look at things like homelessness in Harrisburg. If Harrisburg, if the ship if the tide is rising with Harrisburg getting better and better, if we can somehow spend some of our time and effort to help Harrisburg, that's going to help us out here in the burbs. If Harrisburg's struggling, we're going to be struggling to some degree because no one wants to move into an area where a city is really struggling. So we have an opportunity out here in the burbs to help out. One issue is homelessness in our region, in our city of Harrisburg, and I'd like to thank Stephanie, Josephine, Fritsch for bringing that to my attention and sending me down a little bit of a pathway. That pretty much wraps up today's show. I went over a little bit. So thanks for stopping by. Let's get our music back up and running. And we'll thank our sponsor, Consolidated Insurance Services, and also Pennsylvania House candidates Eric Epstein and Adam Klein. Thank you for your support. As usual, we'll be back here tomorrow morning with the Gazette Morning Update. We'll see what we have for you. I never know what we're going to do. Pretty much a last-minute thing. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you Wednesday. Bill Bostic signing off for now. Bye.